Hey, how's it going, my friends? Thanks for supporting the guide. And as I mentioned, it's sequential. So if you watched the previous videos, you should by now you should have gotten laid. Plus, you should have gotten figure out what to do after sex. So now, like, the guide is just gonna focus on some pointers, some tips on how to stay safe, what kind of results should you expect, and what happens if you're not getting results. And that's to me what will end the series, this Daygame method. So today's video, like, I was excited to write about this because I've been meaning to talk about this topic for a long time, but it's on how to stay safe. And you see, like, guys, in the current progressive era we live in, like, you are who should be careful, you know, like, you are the guy who it's at risk when you're doing all this PUA stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of coaches, a lot of the whole I'll say red pill crowd, like all the manosphere, like those guys, they live in the past. They'll assume that nothing will happen, there's no consequences. Well, I don't believe that at all. I believe that you are at a disadvantage to an extent in certain areas of the world, and you need to be smart about how you approach things, you know? So I'm looking at the other side, because most of these attraction coaches, they're all focused on how can you change? How can you be an attractive guy? And what I'm saying is, like, you only need to meet a threshold and you're good to go. However, you need to look around at that society. You need to look at the girls. Like I mentioned in the first video on mindset, you need to look at the girls, like, hey, what kind of girls am I approaching? Like, and try to be smart about that, you know, because what I dislike about a lot of these manosphere theories is there's that universalist character that denies the particularism of every area of the world, and everything is just given. Like, the whole biological determinism ignores the environmental factors and the cultural factors, because it's unpleasant to talk about for some people to, like, recognize, hey, maybe, like, the cultural living is not that great for men, you know. Like, I feel like that sort of consciousness, or like, it's denied in a lot of these manosphere groups. So like, the coach will often tell you, hey, every girl's the same, bro, every culture's the same, bro, like, doesn't matter, game's the same, bro. But I believe that's not true at all. So the phone is a snapshot view, also not meant to be representative of all girls, rather just for you guys to have an idea of how things to be around the world. We're focused on ideology, culture, and laws, and not criticism of women or girls, like other, like the manosphere, like the Rouge guys were doing. Like, they were focused on, like, criticizing women. And how did that work out for them, honestly? And this is where intelligence will set us apart, because we're realizing, wait a minute, like, what is going on here? You see Rouge and many other guys like him, like, they like drawing negative attention to themselves, because their purpose in life is not to get you guys results, get you guys success. Their purpose is to make themselves famous or make a lot of money. So the more attention they draw to themselves, the more customers there are. And you say, well, they can be canceled. Possibly, but they also have this agenda where they want to have that attention, because one, it gets them validated, which is just like a bogus concept. The whole validation, to me, it makes no sense. Two, it gives them money. And three, like, it gives them customers. So yeah, so most of the girls you should approaching, guys, your bread and butter, 80% should be tourists. And that's why I advocate on my method, because why is it that many girls who are tourists are so receptive? Most are open-minded, they're looking to have fun and enjoy themselves. And this is, honestly, if you're a beginner, just approach tourists, and mostly from the following areas of the world that I'm going to outline soon. But I know tourist girls are easier, while local girls are harder, way harder, because they're much more closed off. Well, tourist girls, like, they're open, like, they want to meet people, they want to make alliances, and that's the key word, the guys who are local. So definitely, tourist girls are definitely a good idea. And Latin America, like, a great region with Brazil to meet people, like, meet girls, and you can have good experiences. So if you're on the street of a big city, say in Europe or something like that, and you run into Latin American women, you should definitely approach. Like, it's a good set to, like, meet. It's a good group to meet. And then Southeast Asia as well, Philippines, Thailand. If you meet a girl who's from the Philippines or Thailand, definitely approach. Like, they tend to be really friendly, very open, and a lot of guys have seen a lot of success there. Then Eastern Europe, another area where a lot of people, regardless of background, they've gotten great reception. It's a more traditional culture in many ways. And most guys that I met who approached girls from there had no issues. Like, they were never got reported for harassment or things like that. Like, honestly, it's unfortunate, but in some places, like, people are not very understanding. You know, they'll be like, narratives can be twisted, ideas can be twisted. So definitely. And why accept Poland? Because, like, I don't want to go into details on this. It's more of a personal choice, but, like, Rouge kept hyping Poland and Polish women, and honestly, I think that you should be much more of a discerning thinker, because I met a lot of Polish people, and it's not what it seems. So honestly, like, I would just not focus on Poland and like them, you know. Like, if I meet a Polish woman, like, I would think about it, you know. Like, and why? Because, like, there's this concept that I written about. It's called the map is upside down, that challenges a lot of ideas Rouge and their entourage were promoting. So neutral, so French, Quebecois, Dutch, German, Swedes. So definitely all these girls are like, if you meet like French woman who's a tourist, Quebecois woman who's a tourist, Dutch, like, most of them are going to be friendly to you. You can approach them, like, they're not going to be like hard or reject you a lot or stuff like that. Like, most are just going to be friendly and just speak to you. Even though people lump Eastern Europe and say, like, oh, every Eastern European country is the same, like, it doesn't matter. I don't believe this is true at all. Like, I feel like Eastern Europe is much more, like, there's more male friendliness. And how, like, I know some of you guys who are really into French culture, like, know Catherine Deneuve and a lot of other, like, sex positive French feminists, and there's a lot of influence from them where they don't want that culture to be this gender war, gender battles, and all this stuff that's popular in other places around the world. So definitely, like, and Dutch people, like, they're very friendly as well. Like, Dutch women, like, honestly, I had no issues with them. Like, I always approach them, like, if it doesn't work out, everybody's good, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Then with Germans, like, it's pretty much a coin toss, honestly, because, like, it just depends on German girls. Like, some are really cool, others are not. And they're much more close off, you know, like, so it's just gonna be a coin toss, guys. But honestly, if you have to approach German girls, I would do it. And with Swedes, like, exercise caution, because it seems like a lot of musicians, rappers, you know, like, got in trouble in Sweden. Like, I don't want you guys to, like, get in trouble and all this stuff. So I would just honestly, I would just be really, really cautious, you know. And if I have the chance to just approach a tourist girl, like, I would just go for a tourist girl, you know, like, instead of focusing myself on girls from Sweden. Like, also, Sweden has great music, guys. Bands like Tough Alliance, CEO, Refuse, like, all these bands, like, I really enjoyed it. I still listen to them up to this day, so definitely. But I would just be really cautious there. So don't approach. So here's like groups that I wouldn't approach, and I wouldn't recommend you guys to approach because of culture, ideology. It has nothing to do with individual people. It's more like, hey, what's the culture there? What's the ideology there? Like, some of you guys who heard of Addy, Daygame, who got in trouble, like, he was talking about these ideas. So it's just like, wait a minute, like, there's a lot of like funkiness going on, you know, like there's just certain things that are not right. In the first group, I would just not approach are feminists. How to spot a feminist? Usually, like they'll have different color, like green and blue. They have tattoos, piercings. Like honestly, I wouldn't be getting both. Like one time, I approached a feminist girl by accident, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then I quickly realized she was a feminist. So I excused myself and said, actually, like, "Hey, my mom is calling me. I have to go." And she was just perplexed. Like she asked like, "Oh, what's going on?" But I was like, "Oh, but I have to go." You know, like my mom wants to like talk to me, and I left. So for people who think I don't have a sense of humor, like that's what I did, and it was funny. But why wouldn't I get involved with them? Because like narratives can be twisted. You know, it's not a black and white thing where like you talk to her and then it's fine. Like she can also, and this happens in college as well, like in a lot of colleges where you talk to a girl and then like things get twisted. You know, she can say later, "Oh yeah, but like he approached me, but then like a few weeks from there, I didn't feel comfortable about it, so I think I should just get him in trouble." You know, like it's just like it's not healthy. Like it's not like a healthy approach. So I would just excuse myself and just move on. Local girls. So then local girls, whatever city you are from, like, and even this applies to Latin America as well. Like I've noticed, like if you're a local guy, like the odds are stacked against you. Like they're always gonna compare you to the local guys. Like they're always gonna have higher standards. Like they're always gonna say like, "Oh, but I don't want to go there. Like that restaurant is cheap, or I don't want to go here." You know, it's just like not a good idea generally. Like honestly, like local girls, not most cities around the world, like it's gonna be harder. So I try to like a lot of coaches are like, "Yeah, do every girl, bro, mass approach, bro." But I try to just like not bother and be like, "Oh, I'll just go with girls from like Germany, you know, who are just visiting for a few days." Even though like Germany is not easy actually, like, or just go with the girls from the Philippines or something like that, you know, as opposed to local girls, because like a lot of local girls like they're difficult, like they're gonna give you all that congruent tests. That's why like the coach says like, "Hey, why so many congruent tests, bro? Like why am I going through so much?" And it's because of that, you know, like because they're comparing you with the guys, the local guys who are usually like really really cool in the sense that they have the guys who are getting laid, etc. Like they're doing all this like competitive sports and stuff like that, you know, like, or they're mini celebrities and stuff like that. So this to a lot of my Spanish readers, like honestly, Spain is hard mode. Like it doesn't matter if you speak Spanish or not, it's gonna be hard. And then that third wave feminism influence, like I was watching Vox, for those of you guys who know, like the right wing party, and they were talking about this, that you can get in trouble, you know, like stuff like that. And a lot of Spaniard guys as well, they said like, "Hey man, like I wouldn't do game in Spain and stuff like that." Like honestly, like it's just a scary situation, because what if I tell you, "Hey man, just do game, I teach you all this, my method, my tactics," and then you go to Spain or Barcelona and then like you try to approach girls, but then like you messed up for some reason, and then she says like, "Oh, he talked to me and then he kissed me," but then like she's just like, "Yeah, but I removed consent, you know, I no longer feel like it." So then she says that she can report you to the judge or trial or stuff like that, you know, like, and then you might like get scared and they say, "Oh, the Lord Levett, like the young Lord told me all this stuff," and then I get in trouble, you know. So like, why would you do that, man? Like why would you go to a place where clearly like a culture is against you, like there's all these laws and all this stuff, but it's not working in your favor? So honestly, I would skip it and say like, "Oh, I'd rather just approach a girl from Latin America, from Mexico or Colombia, you know, who like where there isn't that kind of culture, you know." It's like a culture. When people talk about like, "Oh, there's a video game culture," likewise there's like a feminist set of culture in certain countries. And this is just a snapshot, by the way. It's not like I could do country by country, like city by city and all stuff, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea. Then Anglos, the same as Spain. Like honestly, like the Anglosphere, like most people just said like it's hard mode, you know, like it's just really hard. Like it's just not a place for beginners. Like there's girls who do jealousy plot lines, all this advanced technique and tactics. So definitely like hard mode, like think carefully. And drama girls, like, it's better to avoid them. Like, I'll talk about drama girls in a future video. But anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. See